Hi everyone, my name is T and welcome back to Storytime, Scars, and Nightmares. If you're new here, this is a place where chilling horror tales, jaw-dropping life experiences, and unforgettable story times come alive. From paranormal encounters that will leave you sleepless to shocking real-life situations that scar their soul. Every story is told with raw emotion and spine-tingling details. I'm here to give you stories that stay with you, the kind that makes you question what's real and what's imagined. So if you love terrifying truths, eerie mysteries, and unforgettable experiences, you found your new favorite channel. Don't just watch, dive in, and please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe, and join me on this thrilling journey because every scar tells a story and every nightmare leaves a mark. So grab a snack, sit back, and please enjoy. Now let's jump into it.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last home healthcare video that I'll be making. I have to double check my book, but around that time, I was always writing things down whenever they happen, but I'll have to double check and let you know. So let's get into it. So around this time, I was packing a bag about, 3 days, sometimes even 2 weeks, and I'll be going to these clients' houses. I was working for this home healthcare company. And so I packed the bag for the 24th, 25th, and 26th of December, and I was at this woman's house. Now, I had already been to her house months before. I had been there consistently for months, and nothing ever happened in her house. So here we are. This is a small house. We're up in the living room and we're dancing. She likes to dance. And so we're up there dancing, having a ball. And I noticed a lot of new decoration. I'm like, oh, you've been decorating? She's like, yeah, the other girl, whenever she's on shift, she helps me decorate. I'm like, cool. The doorbell rings. I go to the doorbell. I said, go to the doorbell. I go to the door. I open the door and it was my coworker, the woman that she was just talking about. And she brought this chair. And I'm like, you brought a chair? She was like, yeah, it's adding to our decoration. This is something that we like doing together. I'm like, okay, cool, that was sweet. So she brings the chair in. When she brought the chair in, she set it all the way at the end of the hall, and it had this painting that was over it. So I'm like, okay, that's sweet. So we continue our stuff. The lady leaves. We continue dancing, and then the woman wants to get in bed. So I put her in bed. Fast forward to after I put her in bed, I put the motion sensors down just in case she gets up. So the motion sensors started going, they just started going crazy. And I looked at the camera and she's laying in bed. She's knocked out. So finally I stand up, and when I stand up to go check and peek my head around the corner, there's this dark figure sitting in the chair that my coworker had just brought into the house. Can't make out if it's a man or a woman just yet, but it was a very dark figure, and I heard stomping, but it didn't sound like feet. And then I look over and it has like this cane in its hand, just stomping it on the ground, on the floor. So finally, I get up, I run over to my duffel bag, and I get my Bible out, and I get to praying. And it's just sitting there looking at me like, and I said, so you just not gonna go? Like, you just not gonna leave? So then once I started to get aggravated and I started to really be really forceful with the words from the Bible, that's when it stood up and it walked into the bathroom, and then it walked back out. But when it walked back out the bathroom, it did this high jump in the air. Like, okay, what was that about? After it did that little high jump, that weird thing, it disappeared from in front of me. But I heard the motion sensor, so I walked over to the camera. And when I walked up to the camera, I see his face. Yes, it was a he in the camera, and he's pointing at my client. So, of course, I'm aggravated. I go back there and I flick the lights on. I didn't care if she was asleep. I was just worried because I know you ain't here for her. Not right now. Not right now. So then fast forward, I played it off to the woman like, oh, do you have to use the bathroom? I'm so sorry that I flicked the light on like that. And so she's like, oh, no, I'm okay. So she lays back down. Once I go back out to the living room, I get to praying. I get to drawing crosses over all the doors, over all the windows. But next thing you know, I feel something walk behind me. And when I felt it, I turned around and he's right here in my face, like right here in my face. I almost dropped to the floor, y'all, but I couldn't do it because then he'd be thinking that he had one up on me. So that entire night, He would just randomly pop up in my face. He would randomly pop up on the sofa, or he would be sitting in that chair that my coworker brought. Now, this is the scariest part. The scariest part is the fact that right after he left up out of my client's room, I could hear her gasping for air like she needed me. And so I ran in there and I sat her up on the edge of the bed and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she said that she said, "I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go." Now, all this time, she's never talked like this. And so I'm just like, you ain't got to go yet if you don't want to. I think what made me more nervous about it is the fact that it was a dark figure that came to collect her. At that point, I was just like, do you want to pray with me? We had never prayed together before, but in that moment, she wanted to pray. So we prayed, right? So fast forward to while we're praying, he just sat down. Like, I wait. So I think that scared me too, because what has this woman done in her life that is so terrible to have a dark figure come to collect her and take her somewhere, and not even a prayer can stop it, can stop her from going with him. Now, here's the even scarier part. I got a feeling to look outside. So I went ahead and I looked out the window. And when I looked out the window, there were two other dark figures standing on the sidewalk. That scared the crap out of me, because I know y'all better just be here for her. So I hear knocking on the door. Of course, I'm not answering it because I just looked out the window. I saw y'all out there. I'm not opening the door. And so the woman, she starts getting hysterical and she is like really going crazy. I'd never seen her like this before. And so do y'all know, like, probably not even 24 hours after I left, that woman passed away. She passed away, and in my head, I felt so bad, but in my head, I was thinking like, oh my God, this family gonna think I'm the Grim Reaper.
Just like, why did we come down here? So what we did was, we do this in every state that we go to, y'all. We do like a little haunted house or like a ghost thing. So we did like a ghost tour, not knowing that we were going to have to go to an actual cemetery and walk around. This part kind of gives me the chills. So can you start it? Like,
so when we got to the, what is it called?
Never mind. Okay, so when we got on the bus, y'all, the bus was packed out. It was packed. It was a bring your own bottle event. The guy, he was telling us, okay, guys, make sure y'all download this on your phones, so when we get out there, you can detect them. And then he said, one thing he said that everybody just kind of, it just went over their heads. He said, so when I get in there, I'm gonna walk backwards. And then when I go out, I'm gonna walk backwards as well, so nothing will follow me. So we're like, oh, okay, we're gonna do the same thing. Hee, ha, 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 ha. So we get to the cemetery. Mind you, the weather, it's not raining, it's not cold, it's not hot. It's like right in between, you know, like feeling good. So we get out and we're walking around, and the guy's telling us the style. They don't bury, it's like a New Orleans tradition. They don't bury their people. They just put dirt on top of them, and then one year and one day they come and then they just basically their bones, and they put them in, you know, the ground. So we got to this one particular.
We got to this little cave graveyard looking thing, and the first thing he said was, everybody take a picture of this and tell me what you see. He said, take a picture of it, tell me what you see. You won't be the only one in your selfie. So he had everybody taking pictures. Everybody was taking pictures. This one lady, she was recording inside the gate, and she ended up seeing something, and she stopped the recording. And before she seen it, he was showing us a picture that he had of what he took in the gate and what he seen in the gate. So I looked at that picture, and then the lady, she was right behind me that was recording, and then she yelled and stopped recording, and she showed her video, and the same thing that was in his picture was in her video.
It was like walking by.
Yeah, like walking by, same exact thing. So
that
we move on from that. We walking, he talks. We walking and talking. It's like he's trying to predict what type of people
We are
like that. Everybody is. He's like, who's a hustler in this group, or who's an entrepreneur, or you a female, come to the front of the line now. Like, he was basically just trying to like pick out
people out.
Yeah. So mind you, now we almost at like the end of the little first cemetery tour. Mind you, we had to do 2 of them. We didn't know this when we booked this. We thought it was like a haunted house. People tapping on the bus window trying to scare us type shit like that. I didn't think it was gonna be no graveyard walk. I don't even go see dead folks that's in my family. So I ain't about to just be walking around cemeteries.
But we were already there, so.
So we get close to the end, and he's like, how many gangsters do I have in this group? He's like, if you're a gangster, come to the front and follow me. The next thing we about to see is basically making it seem like he was about to tell us a story about an OG that done died
right.
and is buried.
Don't let this be an example of you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was taking from it. But we got to the little spot, and he didn't say shit. He didn't speak at all.
The very next thing he
didn't speak at all.
So
the next thing he did was his head just went up like this.
Yeah.
And he was just staring.
And what did I say to him?
He was just staring at the sky. And
like something was flying over, like he was just like.
And my wife was like, "What is he looking at?"
We thought it was.
She asked me that, and I was like, "I don't know. Ask him." And she said, "What are you looking at?" And he didn't say shit. He was still looking up there. Like 10 seconds after she said that, he was still staring. A lot of the people that was on the tour, they was just talking to each other. Nobody was paying attention to what was going on in him.
Yeah.
Nobody was paying attention to it but us. So right after he did that, he just looked right back down and he just started talking about how people were buried again. The same talk he was doing that entire time, he went right back to it. He didn't talk about the OG that was buried behind us or anything like. And that's what I thought he was about to explain. Every time he asked who's an entrepreneur, who's a this, who's a that, we thought he was literally gonna explain to us a specific person that was buried in there that was either an entrepreneur, OG, a doctor, somebody of nature. That's what we were thinking. It was never that. So after the head up, head down situation, we walked about 20 steps back towards the front of the gravesite. When I tell you, out of nowhere, a click, boom, a freezing cold breeze. Freezing cold breeze.
It was about 70 degrees out there, y'all. It was a breeze that I've never ever felt before. Like, it felt like there was an energy with that breeze, you know?
The breeze was crazy.
It
threw everybody off. And the guy he's gonna say, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that quick."
Right. I wasn't expecting that to happen so soon.
That was weird. All I know is from hearing growing up, cold when it's something cold around you, that means that's a spirit or something.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. We still wasn't thinking nothing about it. It's like, dang, let's get back on the bus. It's cold. Get on the bus. He's the first one out. Yeah. He's the first one out. He's walking out backwards. He's like, y'all don't forget, walk out backwards. I'm telling you, everybody walked out backwards.
Even us.
And yeah, not one person did not walk out backwards. We all did it, not knowing. So,
because we're thinking, if he's so bold to do this, we need to listen to him. Not knowing none of the history that he could have literally been a dead spirit, but you know how they say in New Orleans, there's dead people that's around and they still have physical bodies. So go ahead, babe.
So
I'm like, what is happening? Mind you, in the hotel that they were in, it's like 75 degrees in there, probably hotter. And the water was it was freezing up as though you just took it out of the refrigerator, and it's like really, it started bubbling up. And I'm like, y'all know what that means, right? Because I seen it somewhere on TikTok before. I said, y'all know what that means when the water start bubbling up and looking like that. It means that there's like a dark energy or a spirit around you. They're like, no, you lying. I'm like, I swear to God, looking up. And at this point, we laughing because we're not thinking nothing of it about New Orleans. And then that specific place that we were at, it's the most haunted place in New Orleans. And people were saying like, there's a bunch of dark magic, a bunch of portals down here, just a lot of dark energy down here. And tourists are really not supposed to be in this area. And that we are not supposed to, after 10 o'clock, you're not supposed to walk. What the fuck are you rolling your eyes for?
I wasn't trying to.
And as we were talking and as I was doing my research, how I felt about the situation, they were trying to scope people out to give their dead ancestors other people's bodies. Like, that's how I felt about the situation. And it gives me creeps even talking about it. And that guy, like, the way he was, it just was like he belonged there. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You don't do stuff like that. And he was just way too comfortable to do it. You know, after that happened, 2 days later, that incident happened where the guy plowed into the truck. And I just felt like our energy was definitely right and definitely was telling us to get the fuck out of there. Because we left a whole day earlier than what we were supposed to. But I, like my husband said, no disrespect to any other NO natives. Like, no problem with you guys. It's just the city is there's a lot of history. There's a lot of things that go on down there. So we just would never go there.
I never go to New Orleans.
Never.
Excuse me. Are you back there again? This has become its favorite spot. Now, and there he is. Okay, that's enough water, please. Okay. Everyone can see you in their reflection, bud. Everyone can see you in their reflection. And it's gone. Okay. I know he's not in here, but I just want anyone who's watching to see. This is too small, but just like it's not. I just wanted you to see. The cabinets are knocking again. I'm leaving. Ouch. That's enough for today.
Baby, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Baby, wake up! What the fuck? What the fuck, baby? Wake up, wake up, wake up. Something, open the door. Why aren't you waking up? Baby, wake up! Wake up! Oh my God, baby. Wake up! Wake up! What the fuck?
I've literally watched all the stitches to this video, but this story that I'm about to tell today, even though it happened years ago, still gives me chills, and I feel like it has a lot to do with why I quit my job. So I used to work in long-term care, for those of you that don't know, pretty much a nursing home. I was a certified nursing assistant out of high school. This was my first big girl job, okay? So when I first started, I didn't know a lot about the different types of shifts, but there's pretty much 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. I worked the 7 to 3, which was 7 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As time went on, I slowly started to transition to 3 to 11 to work around my college courses. But every now and then I would pick up an 11 to 7 shift.
It didn't take long before I started working there where people were telling me about this one particular resident that had an issue with people of a certain color coming into his room. I didn't have too much interaction with this resident because, like I said, I only worked 7 to 3, and you didn't have to do a lot for him. Just go in and check on him and make sure he was okay. Bring him his food tray. Every now and then he might ask you for help to go to the bathroom, but that was about it. I had heard that this resident could get kind of nasty sometimes. I also heard that he had dementia, so he was like seeing stuff. And I also remember going in his room a couple times and seeing all of the mirrors in his room covered up. This is gonna come back later. So on my first 11 to 7, we'll call this nurse Patty. Patty pulled me aside and she was like, hey, this is the list of people pretty much doing the report for when I first, clocked in, starting my shift. She told me who I had, who was total assist, which I had to do everything for, and who I could pretty much, let. So I noticed that this list had this certain patient's number on it, this certain resident's number on it. His room number was on there. But instead of it saying, just limited assistance or whatever, it was like total assist. So I asked, I'm like, I know I have him during the day and I just go in and check on him and make sure he's okay. If he rings the call light, I'll go in. But other than that, that's about it. When did he become a total assist? So she proceeds to tell me that the night before, he got so scared and so frantic and thought something was in his room that he jumped out of his bed and fell on the floor and did something to his hip. So at this point, currently, he's a total assist, meaning I have to go in, I have to check on him, I have to do everything for him. I said, cool, no problem. I start doing my rounds, I start checking on my people, passing out ice water, changing people, as I normally do. Literally, not even 15 minutes into my shift, his call light is on. I go in, I make sure everything's okay. As soon as I get in, I kid you not, this man is literally in the fetal position. I walk up to him and I ask him if everything's okay. Obviously, when I walk up to him, I'm very careful because, like I stated before, he did not like people of my color coming into his room. During the day, he would make a big deal out of this. Like, if he could get a nurse or a nursing assistant of a different color, he definitely would. He did not pay that any mind. He literally jumped straight into, they're in here, they're after me, please help me. I'm looking like, who is they? He's like, you don't see that little boy behind you? No, I can't say that I do, sir. So it took me literally 15 minutes, and by the grace of God, I was able to calm this man down. We're going to call him Mr. Johnson. After I calmed Mr. Johnson down, I left out of the room, and I went and did my rounds like usual. Literally, not even 10 minutes later, he's back on the call light. I said, okay, maybe he's got to go to the bathroom or something. I don't know. So I went in, checked. This time when I went in the room, I noticed that the room was extremely cold. Extremely cold. When I went in there earlier, it was not cold like that. Now, the nursing home, that nursing home in particular was a little colder on the graveyard shift. But when I tell you it was cold to the point where I could see my breath cold. At this point, not only is he in the fetal position, but he is also under the covers and he is also crying. So I walk up to him. I lift the cover up. I look under the cover. Again, he's sitting under there. We make immediate eye contact and he's like, help me, please help me. So I'm trying to calm him down because whatever he's seeing, I'm just not seeing it. So I'm like, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to need for you to cooperate with me. I'm going to need for you to tell me what's going on so I can better assist you and we can get through this shift together. At this point, I'm doing what I've been taught to do for somebody that's going through a dementia or Alzheimer's crisis, which is what I was told that he had. He calms down a little bit and he literally just starts talking. And when I tell you this got crazy quick, it got crazy quick. So he's telling me that when he was younger, about his 20s or 30s, he was married to a young woman. We're going to call her Maggie. Him and Maggie had just bought a farm. It was literally just him and Maggie. And before you knew it, Maggie got pregnant. Back then, it literally wasn't uncommon to have people of color hired as help to help you on the farm, to help you raise kids, whatever the case may be. This was post-slavery, but people was very much still feeling entitled to doing whatever they wanted to do to people of color. So that's the time frame we in. He tells me that months go down the line, whatever. He goes and he wakes up early one morning. He sees that his wife is a little uncomfortable. She tells him like maybe the baby's coming or whatever. He doesn't think nothing of it. He goes out, get on his tractor, and he does his farmer work. He has a farmhand named Tommy. Tommy is a black man, okay? Around lunch, he's guessing is when his wife went into labor while he was still out in the field. His wife called her mother-in-law, which was Mr. Johnson's mom, her sister-in-law, and his brothers came as well. Everybody's making sure that everything's going okay. The baby is finally born at some point. When the baby is born, I guess everybody in the room looked around at each other and realized that this baby was not in no way, shape, or form white.
The brothers immediately take the baby and they go outside. His mom sits there with her and they snatch this baby and they take the baby outside. Meanwhile, all this is going on. Him and Tommy are still out in the field. They took this baby out into a body of water, and I will not be saying what they did to this baby, but you can only imagine for the time period. Him and Tommy finally wrap up their work for the day and he heads back to the house. When he gets inside the house, he sees his wife sitting there with his mother. His wife is crying. His mom's just sitting there irritated and pissed off. He asks what's going on, and that's when she gives him the whole rundown that your wife was pretty much sleeping with your field hand, and this is the situation that you're in. So he asks, where's the baby? And the mom says, your brother's taking care of it. Don't worry about it. You need to figure out what you're going to do with her. Meanwhile, this is going on. His brothers have went and got Tommy out of the field. The things that they did to Tommy, again, I cannot describe it here on TikTok, but just imagine the torture and everything that he went through. They literally just left him there in that field. They left him there in the middle of the field. This man proceeds to tell me that when he finally figures out what happened and what his brothers did, they literally acted like nothing ever happened. And every night, Tommy and his son will come and visit him like clockwork. At this point, when I tell you the chills are running up my spine, literally every hair on my body is sticking up. I don't know what to say. I'm like, when they say frozen in fear, I was frozen in fear. Because it's like, as soon as he told me that story, I could pick up on what was in the room. Before, I couldn't pick up on what it was, but I could immediately feel something else in the room with us. After he told me the story, I finally got him to calm down and he went to sleep. He slept for literally a couple hours, and at this point, we're at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like clockwork, he hits that call light again. I go back in. I remember walking into the room and all of the sheets were taken off of the mirrors, which I thought was very strange because he wanted his mirrors covered up for a reason. I went over to Mr. Johnson and I touched him to make sure that he was okay, and this man was ice cold. He had died. As I went to leave the room to go contact a nurse, oh my God, I'm getting chills. I'm literally passing by this mirror, and as I'm headed out, on my left is the mirror. I turn and look in the mirror, and behind me, to the far wall of Mr. Johnson's room, I see a taller figure, and I see a shorter figure standing beside this taller figure that I would say is probably about the height of a 5-year-old child. I have never seen nothing like that in my life, ever. And I cannot explain the amount of fear that ran through my body, but I got out of that room so quick, I will tell you that. The crazy part is that when the nurse came in, we could not understand how these mirrors got uncovered. Even the one in the bathroom was uncovered. The one in his room was uncovered. Again, this is a man that just hurt his hip yesterday. There's no reason why he should have been out of bed taking these blankets off this mirror, and I know he wouldn't have done it anyway. Also, the fact that she felt like he had been dead for longer than I said he had. But again, I had just talked to Mr. Johnson. I had literally just talked to him. So I don't understand how a dead man talks, but maybe y'all can let me know. And when I tell you, baby, I only lasted 3 more days after that. I didn't sleep for days. I said, I'm not coming back. Y'all ain't gotta worry.
Okay, so I got another creepy story. This one's about my baby sister. Okay, so this happens in Mobile, Alabama in 2005, July 2005. Okay, so my baby sister was a teenager at the time. So my mom, husband had passed away earlier July 2005. So it was like 2 weeks later. So my sister was in the kitchen washing dishes, and she found an old flip phone in a drawer. So my sister picked up the phone and she was asking my mom where the charger was, because my mom was like, I don't know, that phone been there for the longest. So like I said, it was dead. And so my sister was like, I got to find a charger. And so she just threw the phone on the counter beside her while she was washing dishes. And so while my sister was, like I said, washing dishes, she heard the phone vibrate. She stopped and she was like, what the heck? She looked over. The phone was vibrating, y'all. And my mom's husband, his picture like just popped up on the little screen of the flip phone. And my sister was like, oh my God. Now mind you, the phone dead. So it scared her so bad. She took off running to my mom's room, told my mom. So my mom came back up like, what the hell? So my mom gets the phone dead. My mom looking at him like, girl, ain't nothing wrong with that. So she just folded the phone up, threw it in the drawer. And my sister was like, them dishes ain't getting washed today. So she went to bed. So my brother came to visit my mom. Him and my god brother, they had to help my mom move some stuff around. And this was still like in July, it's probably like the end of July. And so my brother, while he was in the kitchen, he heard like a vibration in the drawer. He was like, "What is that?" And it just kept vibrating. And my brother pulled the drawer open. It was the phone. Mind you, the phone dead. And my brother's like, "Who phone this is?" And my mom was like, "That phone been dead for months." And so my brother said, "Couldn't be." He flipped the phone up. And guess what? It was my mom's husband face in the phone again. And my brother's like, "What the hell?" And my mom was like, "Oh my God, that phone been dead." So my brother just snapped the phone and threw it away. He was like, "No, we ain't playing those games. That was scary." So my mom neighbors came and asked my mom one day, and it was a husband and wife. So they asked my mom, they said, "Didn't you say your husband passed away a couple of weeks ago?" She was like, "Yeah." They was like, "No, because we saw him walking up the driveway because he used to smoke." They said, "We saw him walking up and down the driveway with a cigarette." My mom's like, "No, y'all didn't see him." They was like, "Yeah, yes, we saw him." And so my sister said she woke up one morning and she saw a shadow. It looked just like, she said, the curtains were closed so you can see like a shadow of somebody because the sun was coming up or somebody sitting on the porch smoking. And she said, "I kid you not. It looked like, my mom's husband." She said freaked her out so bad. She just took back off running and told my mom, like, that house, my mom must have stayed there. Man, it was built on a cemetery, an old slave cemetery. And I got to give y'all some creepy stories about that. But yeah, that's it, y'all. Bye.
Something fucking creepy happened when I got home. I was driving down the street, and my daughter's bedroom light is on. So I'm like, that's weird because she's at her dad's house for a couple nights. She's not home. So I park my car right over here. And when I park my car, I see her bedroom curtains are also opened a bit. So now I'm freaked out, right? And my doors were locked. But my house was built in like 1910. So I was like, I hope it's a fucking ghost and someone didn't, break in or something. So I have to actually go in my house right now and I'm recording it because I'm scared. Alright, so here we go. I'm like shaking right now. Like my hormones are, like my adrenaline is going again. Like I have to go up my creepy dark stairs. None of the lights are on upstairs. This is not fun. And I've been hearing weird shit in the attic, bro. Oh, fucking spooky. That's her room. Just turn the light on. I don't know which way I should point the camera. Bro, I'm freaked out. I'm gonna go in my bedroom first. Turning the light on in here. Ah! Why isn't it turning on? Okay. This shit's scary. Dude, I don't want to go in there. Everything is like normal in here. But her painting fell. This painting she made was hanging on the wall and that fell. Her chair that belongs to her desk is here, but that just might be normal. Like maybe she was playing with it. I'm gonna look in her closet. Dude. Everything's normal. I'm gonna shut her light off. Like the LED lights are on in my other daughter's room and those always go on. Dude, it was fucking creepy. I'm looking behind the shower curtain. Ha! Nothing there. Weird. Like that light was off last night. I was here in my house sleeping. I hate when that light is on because if I close my door and the light is on, it shines through this crack. It's gotta be a fucking ghost. Like my house was built in like 1906, not 1910, 1906.
Okay, so right now I'm on New Orleans TikTok where they're talking about all the like haunted and like vampire stuff that's like happening to them. And I don't have like a lot of like stories like this, but I do have one of when I was an EMT and me and my 50-year-old Christian woman partner, who she does not believe in this stuff at all. We were taking this patient that was on a 5150 that was being extended. And so we took her to like a longer stay home, which I've never seen like a home like this in LA before. But it was basically like this wood house in Atwater Village. And the moment you pull up, it just looks like this wooden Victorian situation, like something you would see in a movie. Like if you've ever seen that movie Monster House as a kid, like that's what it looked like. And the vibes were just like not right as soon as you got out. But I was like, you know, whatever. We get out and this poor woman, she was just not doing well. She was, I don't think I'm allowed to tell you what was wrong with her. Anyways, we get out and she's like, please don't leave me here. Like I can see things and like she's like sobbing to me. She's like, please don't leave me here. But like, I have to, you know, like as much as I don't want to leave you here because it is fucking haunted, you can tell. What am I supposed to do? I'd be kidnapping you. Anyways, we get inside. We can barely get her freaking gurney in there. And we're taking her up to the room. The whole time she's just sobbing, this poor girl. And my partner just kind of attributed that to that obviously she didn't want to be in another mental health institution. But so we took her there. They did her vitals. They took her to the room and whatever. We were all done. We get in this elevator. We get in the elevator. And I'm like nervous laughing just thinking about it. We like condense our little gurney and we close the elevator and it says 3, 2, 1 and those are the only buttons. So we click 1 and we stop at 1, the doors don't open and then it just keeps going down and I'm like, what the fuck? And the doors open, pitch black. It's pitch black. This is obviously the basement, right? It's pitch black and you can't really hear anything except like this growling, and not like that, but like growling of like a machine or something. And it's just like really eerie and the vibes, the energy was just sucked out. Like it's like negative energy. I'm pushing the button and she's looking at me like, Hannah, please push the button. And I was like, I'm trying, like, and I'm pushing 1, I'm pushing 2, I'm pushing everything just so we could go up. And I'm not even shitting you when I say this. I say this with my whole heart. This is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. We hear footsteps, slow footsteps, like a heeled man's shoe walking from the back of the room to the front of the room, but it's pitch black. You can't see anything. Slow footsteps. And she looks at me and I was like, and we're both pushing buttons. We're pushing the emergency button. We're trying to manually close it because something was wrong. They are about to like come in the elevator light. The footsteps are about to come in the elevator light. And finally it closes. We go back up to 1. And she is like pooping her pants. I am like shaken to the core. And we look at the security guard and I'm like, there is something wrong with your elevator. It took us to the basement. He said, we don't have a basement here, ma'am. We get back in the ambulance. We just had to sit there. We couldn't even clean the gurney for a minute. Like we had to sit there. And she said, what the fuck? This poor woman, she doesn't cuss. She's a good Christian woman. And we just never talked about it. Even talking about it is giving me like goosebumps because